Hi ladies, I'm Natalia and welcome back to my channel. Many of you will have noticed that I switch gyms pretty often, and that's because I actually travel a lot. But contrary to popular belief, it is possible to stay fit whilst traveling, regardless of all of the excitement and all of the struggle that often comes with it. So stick around to find out my top 5 tips to stay fit whilst traveling and an awesome workout that you can do anywhere. Recently, a friend of mine told me that at my next destination, I would have no choice but to give in to all of my food temptations, to give up the gym altogether, that there was no possible way that I could keep up my healthy habits here and actually have a good time. But that is not true. It's simply false. You always have a choice. I cannot stress this enough. Any excuse that you come up with is just exactly that. It's an excuse. Remind yourself why you are doing this in the first place. Did you really put all of this effort into your fitness journey just to basically throw it all away because on the few days of your holiday you've decided to just go all out? Now, that is not to say that you shouldn't have fun, that you shouldn't try local food, that you should basically stick to your hotel room and stick to the gym because that's the only way that you're gonna get through the holiday. No, I am all about having authentic experiences. I'm all about enjoying life. I mean, we only have one life. The goal is not to completely be restraining ourselves constantly. However, there is a way to enjoy your holiday, whether you are traveling for leisure or whether you are on a business trip. There are ways to make time in all of that to your healthy living. I know that it may be difficult at times when all of your points of reference are basically gone. You don't have the gym that you used to going to. Sometimes you don't even have the ingredients that you're used to getting to make yourself food. Maybe you're not cooking at home at all. And so all of these factors do come into play when you're traveling. And it may complicate things a little bit. You may have to think about it a little more, but it's not to say that it's hard to maintain an overall healthy lifestyle, and it's not to say that it's impossible. For those of you ladies traveling on business trips, I know how busy it can get, but these tips are also very much applicable to you. There are ways to keep maintaining a healthy lifestyle and maintaining your fitness levels whilst you're in these busy trips. So here are my 5 top tips that I myself apply when I travel. If I can do it, you can do it too. As I've mentioned in previous videos, your diet is the most important part of your fitness journey. There is absolutely no way to out-train a bad diet. There is no way to make up for it by doing exercise, no matter what kind. So you really need to focus on your diet. If there's one thing to prioritize during your travels, it's this, okay? And I don't want to hear anything about those excuses that there isn't the food that you're used to eating, or you can't find the ingredients for the specific diet that you've been following. Fine, that may be true, but there are healthy ingredients everywhere. And I'm talking about the raw vegetables, raw fruits, raw sources of protein that have existed for thousands of years and you can find everywhere. So even if it means you have to change up your diet from what you're used to doing, there are many healthy options out there. I love the 80-20 rule. I live by this. Like I said earlier, the idea is not to completely deprive yourself, and this should actually apply in your everyday life. You don't want to be restricting yourself and stopping yourself from living your life and having great experiences, and this applies even more when you're traveling. If you want to try some local cuisine, that's fine. If it's a little unhealthy, that's fine. Just make sure that overall you are being healthy 80% of the time, and that the other 20% of the time, fine, try local foods. Have some of your cravings that you're seeing on the streets. That's great, but just make sure that you are consciously thinking about making healthy choices elsewhere. This one is a tricky one, and we often don't see this one coming. So you're lying on a sunny beach, you're in the sun, it's great, you're feeling a little thirsty, and you see your neighbor over there ordering cocktail after cocktail. Someone else is ordering a bunch of smoothies, a bunch of cold drinks, some sodas, and before you know it, you're endlessly sipping on drinks constantly. And all of these have calories in them, which we seem to forget, right? So if you're over drinking, you will eventually be consuming a lot more calories than usual. So do keep this in mind when you're ordering your next drink. Again, make your choices. Make sure you're picking your favorite drink, stick to that one, and maybe skip the next two. And this leads me to the next point. For those of you who don't drink, that's great, and for those of you who do, just be smart about it. When we're on holiday, it often may seem a little more tempting to have an extra drink here and there. But again, the point is not to deprive yourself necessarily if this is something you really enjoy, or if you want to have a nice cold beer on a night out with some friends, that's great. But just again, make choices. Don't go completely overboard. Don't think that because it's vacation it doesn't count. It does. Just remember that, as we know, alcohol is not very good for your body, and it also means that when you drink, the next day you will likely be craving a lot more fatty foods. You will also be exhausted, you're less likely to train and work out and be energized, and all of this will affect your fitness levels. So choose wisely when you want to drink. When there's a specific occasion where you think it would be particularly enjoyable for you to, that's fine. But for example, if you know that you're going out tonight to have a few drinks with some friends, maybe skip on that afternoon cocktail, right? You don't really need it if you're going to that later. Instead, why not have a healthy fruit juice with no sugar and go to the gym, run on the beach, do something active, right? So it's all about making choices and maintaining an overall balance. And really important, not all alcoholic drinks were created equal. So when you are choosing your alcoholic drink, make sure you are choosing wisely. The best ones to go for would be wine or liquor. So straight up liquor with no mixers. Mixers are terrible for you. They're usually filled with loads and loads of sugar, and we don't want that. That is the enemy. Next would be some beer. And finally, the worst thing to go for would be to go for some cocktails that include mixed drinks again, which is what we don't want. Or absolute worst is to mix energy drinks with alcohol, because that is just downright terrible for your body. Don't let the unfamiliar environment deprive you from usual gym sessions or your usual active lifestyle, okay? There are many hacks that you can do. One hack that I'm gonna let you in on, which is one that I use very often, is that when I'm on holiday, I go to the nearby gym and I pretend that I've just moved into this new city that I'm in. And I tell them that I'm really interested in joining the gym, that I'd like to get monthly membership, but before that, I'd like to test out the gym first. Some gyms, not all, but some will give you a free trial, which means that you get basically a free gym session. So really you have no excuse. And even if they don't, many of them offer really reasonable prices for trial day sessions or even weekly passes. So all of that is possible. Maybe your hotel even has a gym in it. So that's really not an excuse to skip out on it. And if you do want to take a break from the gym, which I completely understand and I do sometimes, there are many outdoor activities that you can try, especially when you're traveling. Why not go for a hike or a bike or a long walk or a run? There are many options. Another great option to do that I regularly do are workouts with your body weight, and I also incorporate resistance bands, which make home workouts or workouts you can do anywhere all the more challenging and all the more effective. So I highly recommend getting these. They are incredible and they're super light as well and small, so super easy to travel with. They are actually amazing. I'm gonna show you a workout that I have been doing, which can be done absolutely anywhere, and the only thing that you will need are these resistance bands. We're gonna start this workout off on a beautiful day with an exercise targeting our core and glutes. This is the plank with glute kickbacks. We're going to do 3 sets of 12 reps on each leg. I think this exercise is seriously underrated. It works practically your entire body here as well as your balance. This exercise is difficult enough without bands, but add in some bands for an extra challenge, because that's what we are all about. Even as your leg is raised, you need to make sure that you are forming a straight line from your neck all the way to your toes. Don't let your hips sag towards the floor. I know it will be tempting, but really try to maintain that straight line. Use your full strength to maintain your body in plank position. As you raise your back leg upwards, actively squeeze for an extra second at the top before bringing it back down. Moving on to our first superset today. We're gonna superset lunges and hip thrusts with bands. During your lunges, make sure your front leg is far enough in front so that your front knee does not go over your toes as you bend down. This is really important to avoid any injury. Also, make sure you're going deep here. Your back knee should almost touch the ground as you go down. This movement should be slow and controlled. Try not to lean on anything in order to further work on your balance here. These hip thrusts with bands are a new one for me. I love hip thrusts. Those of you who know me will know that. They are my all-time favorite glute exercise. So when I figured out that there was a way to do them on the road with bands, I had to give them a try. Although they don't compare to hip thrusts with a barbell, they are a great alternative if you don't have a gym available to you. Block the band below you with your hands as you push your hips upwards. It was so sunny here, as you can see. I had to move on to the shade after this. How great is it to work out outside though? Seriously, I am enjoying this fresh air after winter. We're gonna work out our back and triceps now with this next superset comprising of bent over rows with bands and dips. Who said you couldn't do bent over rows on the road? Turns out you can with these mini bands. Make sure this movement is slow and controlled. Hold the tension for an extra second as you pull the band towards you and feel the squeeze in your back. Find an elevated surface near you to perform these dips. Actually, a little hack here that most people are unaware of is to keep your hands facing outwards, so to your sides, instead of facing forwards. This way you'll better protect your shoulders, because otherwise you are at risk of hurting your rotator cuffs in your shoulders. Alright, almost done. We're gonna finish this off with a superset including spider crunches and standing hip abduction. For those of you who have seen my abs and core workout from a while back, you will recognize these spider crunches. This is a great challenging exercise you can do anywhere without needing any equipment. Finally, we're finishing off with the standing hip abduction, which will emphasize the work on our hips, which we haven't worked out yet actually. The bands really help to make this exercise challenging. In fact, I often use these bands for this exercise at the gym as well. You'll find the resistance provides more than enough challenge to perform this exercise. Remember to keep your upper body and hips still. The only thing that should be moving here is your leg. Remember, ladies, that your fitness levels will absolutely take a hit unless you make it a point to continue your healthy lifestyle whilst you travel. It's all in here. It's all in your mindset and the priorities and the importance you give to it. Because otherwise, it's not gonna happen. You're gonna find a million excuses to not lead a healthy lifestyle, and you're gonna find a million excuses why it's not your fault because you were in X and Y situation and that's why it didn't happen. But that's only really gonna be trying to reassure your conscience, when in reality, we always have a choice. We always do. I don't care if you have 50 business meetings, I don't care if you have 50 business dinners, you can always choose a healthier option, okay? If you enjoyed these tips and this full body workout that you can do anywhere, remember to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for some more amazing real fitness tips for women. Stay strong, ladies.